Introducing the BHOD, or Break of High of Day strategy, created by John from the Bearable Traders team, a man who's as passionate about this strategy as he is about the Beatles. What makes the Break of High of Day strategy so great is that it's simple. But John isn't the only one who loves it. Many of our members can't get enough of it. And guess who else is a fan? That's right, Mike. So let's step into a Break of High of Day trade that Mike did on March 8th on NVIDIA. Okay, so here we have NVIDIA. What you'll notice is for most of the day after the morning push is that it has formed a range and just been consolidating. You might be asking, why wasn't this high of day attempted sooner in the day? And there are a couple of reasons. For a break of high of day, we want to see steady volume before the break and then an increase in volume as it breaks. If volume starts to increase too early, there's a chance that it will die off at the resistance point or the high of day, like it did here. So here we are towards the end of the day, and what's great about this strategy is that if you're someone who can't trade the open or likes to sleep in, or lives on the West Coast and would rather quit trading than get up while it's still dark outside, the break of high of day can offer setups throughout the entire trading day, and it gives a very clear point of where you want to take the trade. So on this trade in particular, I have the high of day marked here, which is 240.35. This level here at 240.20 is R5 on the Camarilla pivot points. You'll notice that level here on a separate chart that I've pulled from DOS Trader. One more thing about this area is that it's a whole dollar level, and typically whole dollar levels are psychological price points. So we have three things here as resistance that would lead to a decent pop if it breaks: the high of day, R5 Camarilla pivot level, and the psychological whole dollar level at 240. Now what we want to see as it approaches is steady volume, nothing out of the ordinary. And then once it gets to the level and begins to push through, we want to see a pop in volume. Another couple pieces of criteria that we want to see is RVOL, or relative volume above 90%, a pullback prior to the break, which it did here around 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. And when you're looking at your level 2, it's good to see stacked orders outside of the break, which shows liquidity for the stock to run to. On this day, the level 2 was stacked at 50-cent increments up to 242, which could issue a $2 move. So let's go ahead and cue this up on the 1-minute chart and hit play and watch how this trade set up and was executed. And before we hit play on this, I just want to point out the part that I showed you earlier on the 5-minute chart where it did try to break the high of day, but you can see here on the 1-minute chart how extended this stock was as it was running into the level. So what we really want is we want to be a little bit closer to the level, not so extended, and just let the volume stay steady, and then we want to pop through it. So here we are as it's starting to climb again towards the high of day, and we can see that volume is pretty steady, nothing crazy. Now, as we're watching it, we want to look for that pop of volume, and we want to see it break through the high of day. And of course here, the 240 level and the R5 Camarilla pivot point. So we get the pop through the level. Notice how the volume increases as it pushes. We call this the punch as it starts to punch up towards and through the level. We'll place our stop below the previous candle, so it would be right about here. So as this starts to push up, we want to take partials at whole dollar levels, 50-cent levels, or any significant area of resistance. So as we approach 241, we could take a partial there. I see that it's popping through it pretty quickly, so I'm going to go ahead and actually take it at the next resistance point, which you'll notice here on my other chart, which is R6 on the Camarilla pivots. So I've taken a partial there, and the next place I want to take a partial is as it kind of breaks through the 241.50 area, again a $0.50 level, and then I'll have my all out set at 242. So as this starts to pull back, we're completely fine, we're safe, our stop would now be at break even. We can let this play out a little bit and see if we can get that final partial at 242. One thing to notice is that as this trade is starting to set up, we can see that the SPY is starting to find a bottom as well for the day. And the SPY starts to get this really big push as well, which is probably helping this position. When the overall market is also pushing and the stock you're in is pushing, you basically have a backup army helping you make this move. So we get that partial at 242, we're all out of the position, and we've made a good chunk of change on this break of high of day. So that is the break of high of day strategy, or BHOD as we call it for short. Be sure to check out the replay simulator at tradingterminal.com, where you can test drive all kinds of different setups for your trading style.